Good morning, this is Patrick Gallagher. I am talking to William Watson about why we all should donate to the crowdfunding of JFK to 9/11 Part 2 by Francis Richard Conolly. Hello, William.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing, my friend? Thank you very much for inviting me into this call. What can I do for you?
So how did you find out about the JFK to 9/11 documentary produced and directed by Francis Richard Conolly?
It's a good question. Very good question. I actually first found out about this video documentary just by receiving an email with the URL from another particular person who shares the same concerns, the same issues. And I looked at the email, and then reluctantly I actually selected the URL. But once I started watching the video, I was actually kind of caught into this thing. I met this gentleman later at a coffee shop. We discussed, this video in detail afterwards. I actually watched this video 3 times after I looked at the link first, because it was, well, I became enthralled. I was pretty much overwhelming.
So where can we watch the part 1 of the JFK to 9/11, A Rich Man's Trick documentary?
What again? What did you just ask, Patrick?
Where can we watch the part 1 of the JFK to 9/11, A Rich Man's Trick?
Okay. Well, believe it or not, the URL that was given to me was simply a YouTube URL. And you can get on Google, or you can just go right into YouTube and just type in "everything is a rich man's trick," or you can actually type in JFK to 9/11.
Okay. One point to note is that there's several copies of the same video. So the original one is by Francis Richard Conolly, right?
Good point. Yes, the original one is by Francis Richard Conolly, but I do want to point out that after I watched the video, I immediately located Francis Richard Conolly's Facebook page, and I did a Facebook request. I sent a message to him. I said, this is pretty amazing. I'd like to actually meet you in person.
Yeah.
I was befriended, and we are Facebook friends now. We communicate openly through email correspondence.
Awesome.
And, which is why we have the part 2, which I hope that you bring up, while we're trying to gather some funding for it to continue this message.
So getting back to the documentary, what was in the documentary that in particular stands out for you that other viewers would be interested in?
That's a good question too. When you watch the documentary, you quickly realize that this is just not a summary of some of the contradictory issues that you find in just the JFK assassination or in 9/11. What you quickly realize that we're covering in this video documentary an entire histology that's taking place long before World War I and through the JFK assassination, and then leading up to the present day. So what I'd like to actually say is the key things that popped up were, well, first thing, the JFK assassination and the 9/11 issue. They were covered in great deal. And there's some of the things that I thought were abnormal were there. But the second thing, the most important thing that stood out, and people need to know this, is that this documentary showed how people with money control the people, and they control the money, and they literally create and or invent the future.
Excellent. That sounds like something that I'd be interested in. So what questions did you get answered by watching the JFK to 9/11 documentary?
Well, for me, you finally get to know more about what happened in the past and how the past changed the future and how the world is actually being run today. One of the things that I pick up is that, we have a group of people that control the money, they control things, they control situations, and what better way to get rid of secrets than to kill the vessels that contain the secrets or kill the people who possess the secrets. And they control enough money and enough people to where it's covered up, Nothing is ever said, nothing's ever done, and apparently it's going on today.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I got another question for you. What would happen if this
All right.
JFK to 9/11 documentary was to be shown in all schools around the world?
Well, that's good. Well, I'll tell you what would happen. The world is filled with a lot of people that refuse to accept the obvious. We live in a world where we have the majority of people who like to have they walk around with blinders on. They like to see what they're told. They like to do what they're told. They don't like making decisions. And if this documentary was shown in some schools, not all the schools, but in some schools, you would have very few people in the back, but those few people would say, yes, this is answering all of my concerns about this matrix that we've been living in, this surrealistic world that just encompasses us. But the vast majority of people, however, which is being an uproar, how dare you talk about this? This is not true. This could never happen. This is hearsay. I always say, pay no attention to the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It's a good idea to show this to as many people in the world as possible, but unfortunately we have to show it to the people that are ready to witness the truth.
Okay, great. So I was thinking while you were talking there, what do you think Francis Richard Conolly's goal was in producing the documentary? What do you think he wants us to take away?
He wants us to take away that the past is no different. The present and the things that are going to occur in the future are going to be no different than the things that occur in the past. But the history that was revealed to us through, our education, through our history books, through our school teachers, and those schools you're talking about, they gave us a different story. Hence the term history. It's his story. It's not necessarily the real story. So now
I like that.
This video documentary is actually showing us the real history of the past, what really happened.
And not a story.
What? That's right. And it's happening today. I don't know what I can do or what you could do to make people aware and how to make the history more available to people and bring reality to people's eyes. But that's the main focus I'd like to do. Is just first thing you got to do is you have to get people aware of what the real story was. From that point, and I'm just speaking for myself, from that point, then you begin to steer people towards the truth of the matter of how things are actually being conducted today, politically, socially, morally, through churches and institutions, and, through the educational system that you brought up about.
That's great. We're getting close to the end of the conversation. I only have one more question.
No problem.
So what can we do to help? If somebody watches
right
this
now,
or listens to the video.
For me, the thing that I want to do personally is we've got to introduce people to the we have to introduce people to the part two. But to get the part two realized, to bring that to fruition, we have to make the donation page available, which is on Indiegogo, and it's easily accessible. You can just go out on Indiegogo on the page from YouTube. On this video, it has a link to it, or from Indiegogo, you just type JFK to 9/11. Everything's a rich man's trick. That's one way to attach it.
Okay.
And I would encourage them to make donations. I would also try as best as possible to contact as many radio stations that offer free sources to get this information out.
Okay. Sounds like it's easy to find either through YouTube or to go to Indiegogo.com. Just to finish the conversation.
I would like to bring out one thing. The video is 3 hours and 27 minutes. But
Wow.
do not be concerned about the longevity. Make sure you pay full attention and watch the video. It will actually encourage you to want to participate and provide in our cause, and also make donations through the Indiegogo site. Yeah.
Do you know when the donation page ends by chance?
No, I don't, but that's something I can easily find out.
Okay, I think it's going to be closing soon, so I just want to make that clear that if you watch the video, 3 hours 27, as William mentioned, the donation page is only open for 30 days, and I think it opened up on May the 17th. So finally, all I can say is that if you want to know the real story and real history, I recommend you watch the JFK to 9/11 video, Everything is a Rich Man's Trick, by Francis Richard Conolly. There'll be a link at the end of this audio recording to help you find the video as well as the donation page.